What's good, everybody? This is Ryan Johnson with MoneyBass.com. All right, guys, we're going through it today. Today is a rough one. As you come into the chat, drop a 1 in there. I definitely want to make sure. Let's see. I definitely want to make sure that the audio is going well. Make sure you guys can hear me okay and see me okay. Let me just double check some things over here on this side. Been having a few technical difficulties today, guys. So I want to make sure I get things rolling. All right. So as you come into the chat, like I said, just make sure you drop a 1 in the chat for me. We want to make sure you can hear me okay and see me okay, guys. All right. I'm checking the chat, checking the screen, checking the chat. So basically, we're running. I wanted to drop in and make this one a quick for you guys. So it looks like the audio is good. Audio is good. Chat is good. I see a few of you guys are already here. What's going on? Big shout out to Big Ivy Fishing. Ah, man. Hey, we're gonna get straight into it, guys, because I know some of you guys want to take off and take a look at some interesting sports events that will be taking place a little after 8 o'clock today. So basically, what I wanted to do was just to do a quick follow-up. I know you guys saw that banger that Bass Talk Live put on last night. I mean, they had a panel of, I mean, just some heavy hitters. So, and that live stream ran a little longer than what I expected. I was wanting to do a follow up last night, but I just couldn't hang. I couldn't hang with them, guys. All right. So what we're gonna do, welcome to everybody that may be checking into the channel for the first time. This is a very live and interactive show. We get together each week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. I know this is a little something different. Wanted to do a pop-up live stream just to kind of touch on some of the events that have taken place. And the purpose of this live stream is to give you guys a chance to come up and speak your piece. So as you know, on this channel, like I said, we're very live and interactive. So we have a few polls that I will drop. I have a few video clips, some interesting video clips, and some information to bring some value to the situation. And I also dropped the call-in link. So if there's any of you out there that want to come up on the screen, basically just make sure your camera is on and your audio is good, like mine wasn't just a little while ago. And then I'll pull you up on the screen, let you speak your piece, drop you down, and see if anybody else wants to come up and just speak on the topic. And this is just to give the viewers, the people that are, the people that are the viewers, the participants in maybe the lower level tournament scene. What are your thoughts on the things that you've been hearing as far as the forward facing sonar ban and the limitations that have been coming out? So like I said, this is your chance to hit the call-in link. I'll drop that call-in link in just a few minutes. That way you can click that link. I'll bring you up on the screen. You guys pretty much know the format of the show, but for all those that are just tuning in, just give me a second. I do need to check on the Facebook crew real quick. So make sure things are live and in action over here on the Facebook side of things. So just bear with me real quick. All right, there we go. All right, so I want to give a big shout out to the Facebook crew. You guys are live and in action over there on that side of things. So you can feel free to hop into the chat just like everyone else. And the other thing, there is a poll. The first poll of the evening is, let me just pull this up. Do you agree with the Bassmaster limitations? And if your answer is yes, you do agree with the limitations, put those reasons down in the chat. And if the answer is no, you do not agree with the limitations, put a no on the poll and just put your reason in the chat. So we're going to go over those things specifically so you guys will understand exactly what those changes are, what those limitations are. And I have a few video clips that will kind of refresh people's memory about why some of those things are taking place. All right. Okay. I see a few of you already hopping in the chat, voicing your thoughts and opinions on it. And this is the place to do that. Like I said, I will drop the call-in link. Let's see if maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of you want to come up and voice your opinions on the things that we're going to be talking about. So first, let's go ahead and dive straight into the release from Bassmaster. All right, guys. So here it goes right here. And this is the release that came out. Bassmaster announces technology standardization for Elite Series Classic. All right. So this is the information that was dropped that everybody has been talking about. So Bass announces the creation of equipment standards related to new technologies that will impact anglers competing on the biggest stage in bass fishing. And I think everybody pretty much agrees that Bassmaster is still the standard for professional tournament angling. So let's get this centered right here so we can take a look and see exactly what is going on. And like I said, I have a few video clips that will kind of explain some things. So if there's any part of this that you're not familiar with or that you do not know about, let me just swap this over here. Then, just make sure you get active in the chat. This is basically what this is all about. All right. So Anthony says, what an amazing podcast. That is right. Hats off to Matt Pangrac and Bass Talk Live. Man, those guys were on there for 4 hours or 4 hours plus. I was not able to make it. I couldn't make it. I couldn't hang. All right. But it was definitely some great information. All right. So let's get straight into this article. The Bassmaster Elite Series and the Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Classic presented by Jockey Outdoors are the pinnacles of competitive bass fishing. All right, just want to make sure you guys can keep up with me. All right, Bass has created unwavering standards of excellence and expectations for the anglers who fish under these banners. Today, the organization announces the creation of equipment standards related to new technologies that will impact anglers competing on the biggest stage in bass fishing. It is important to understand that these new standardization practices are the result of Bass Technology Committee's year-long collection of data. So I guess they're letting you know that, hey, this wasn't just a fly-by-night situation. So they've been collecting data that we've been hearing about throughout the season, where they're measuring the screens, they're measuring the distance from the console to the top of the screens, all that kind of stuff. All right, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, review of tournament results, consultations with conservation partners, discussions with industry leaders, and communications with every Elite Series pro multiple times throughout the 2024 season. Voices from every corner of the fishing industry were heard and considered. All right, so like I said, we've been hearing this from some of the pros out there, some of the things that were coming up throughout the season. After extensive debate and consideration, the committee made its final recommendation to Bass CEO Chase Anderson. Once the 2025 Elite Series schedule was finalized earlier this week, Anderson approved the following standardization practices. All right, so we're about to get into the meat of this conversation, guys. First, the number of live sonar transducers will be regulated to 1, and it must be mounted to the trolling motor at the bow of the boat. All right, so you guys take note of that. Regulated to 1. Let me see. The transducers will be regulated to 1, and it must be mounted to the trolling motor at the bow of the boat. Now, that comes into play because a question a lot of people are asking are, well, what's going on with the turret systems? People have live scanner. People have target lock. You guys know I had target lock on my boat till yesterday. I just took it off yesterday. I went out there yesterday and today. So if you guys have been following the channel, you saw me out there on the lake, playing around with it, having a little fun without the target lock turret on my boat. All right. So it says, until now, Elite Series and Classic competitors could have an unlimited number of transducers mounted on their boats in any location. Bass will also provide a list of acceptable live transducers from all major electronics manufacturers. So what this means is many of you may be familiar with Garmin. They have multiple different types of live transducers. I believe Active Target from Reliance and Hummingbird's Mega Live. I believe each one of those companies only have one live transducer, but I believe Garmin has either 2 or 3 different transducers out. But always refer to the chat, guys. There's some people in there that know a little bit more about that part than I do, because I run Humminbird. I've only had one live imaging transducer on mine. All right, so it says equipment not on this list is banned from usage in Elite Series and Classic competition. So they're going to ban those other transducers. If they do not approve that transducers, you cannot use it. Period. There's no more explanation on that. This equipment list will be vetted and updated annually. So as new equipment, advances in technology come out, they are going to be monitoring that. So it sounds as though they're kind of putting a cap on it to where they have to give approval before you can actually start putting new technology on your boat. All right. let's keep going. So secondly, so first we see that you can now only have one transducer and it must be mounted directly to, well, it doesn't say directly. It says, let me just say that sentence one more time so there's no miscommunication. The number of live transducers will be regulated to 1, and it must be mounted to the trolling motor at the bow of the boat. All right. So 1 live transducer mounted to the trolling motor at the bow of the boat. So no longer, you can't put one at the back. So even if you want to take that one and mount it to the back or any other location, it must be mounted to the trolling motor at the bow of the boat. All right. Secondly, Elite Series and Classic competitors will be limited to a total of 55 inches of screen, including bow and dash head units. All right. So that is thing number 2. 55 inches of total screen. So we're going to go touch on this a little bit too, guys, because there may be some workarounds that I immediately thought about whenever I read that. And actually, I'll tell you right now what it is. For me, I have one 12-inch unit on my boat, 2 10s and 1 9. So I do have 4 graphs on my boat, 2 at the console and 2 at the bow. At the bow, I have a 12-inch unit and a 10-inch unit. At the console, I have a 9-inch unit and a 10-inch unit. But what I used to do was just take my 12 from the bow of the unit whenever I'm pre-fishing or scanning and things like that, and just use the quick connect from the front of the boat and just mount it right there to the bow of the boat. I'm sorry, at the console. So I would swap those around. So that could be a workaround for some of these anglers if they want to run, say, that big 22 or something like that at the front of the boat, where they have maybe not the 22, a 15 or something like that. But you know what I mean? They may use those quick connects to where they can swap that screen back and forth pretty quickly and easily. So it didn't take me long. So I know at the pro level, those guys will be able to do that a lot easier than I was doing it. All right. So the trend to add more and bigger head units to boats is becoming a safety concern, as the bigger screens may create blind spots, impacting the safe piloting of boats. So we heard that earlier this year, especially with, I believe it was Chris Zaldane that brought that up, where they were monitoring the height of those units, to where they were getting close to where some anglers may not be able to see over those consoles, which causes a safety concern. All right, so there we go. One transducer connected to the trolling motor, 55 inches of screen at the bow and the console. All right, so thirdly, Elite Series and Classic competitors may now have only one electric motor mounted to their boats. There has been a rise in the use of electric motors mounted to shallow water anchors, which makes the enforcement of current rules, it says, like long lining and trolling, very difficult, because as they're moving with that boat, they may not be able to tell, the officials may not be able to tell that the boat is drifting. So that is the statement about that. And I have a clip or two that I'll play about that in just a second. But let's just take a look. It says, lastly, Bass will focus on a more diverse Elite Series schedule, creating a wide variety of fishing styles demanded for success. While live sonar technology will remain a consistent tool used at the very highest level of competitive bass fishing, experience and deep-seated understanding of fish behavior, movement, and patterns will also be needed for success moving forward on the fishery schedule. So take note of that statement right there too. It says experience and deep-seated understanding of fish behavior, movement, and patterns will also be needed for success moving forward on the fisheries scheduled. Why are they focusing on saying experience and deep-seated understanding of fish behavior, movement, and patterns? Kind of sounds like they're saying you can't rely on your electronics 100% or 80% or 90% or like at a high percentage rate. All right, so let's take a look and see, was there anything else in here you guys may want to touch on? All right, so there we go. So let's drop this down. And what I'm going to do is just drop the straight information first. I'm going to play these clips. And what I'll do I will go ahead and drop this call-in link now just to see if anybody wants to come up. If you have anything to say about this topic, then just click that call-in link, and I will be pulling you guys up in just a minute. All right, and let me drop this in the chat. All right, let's see. So the call-in link. All right, so there we go. If you want to come up and voice your thoughts or opinions on this topic or any of these rules or limitations that you have heard, click that call in link, and I will pull you up on the screen. But for now, let's go ahead and get into some of these clips that I wanted to share with you guys. All right, so this first one, let's take a look at this right here. Now, this was something that was very interesting that came out earlier this year that pretty much shocked a lot of people. A lot of people they just weren't ready. They were not ready to see what Chris Zaldane was dropping on their heads. Chris Zaldane came in with the info and he hit them in the head with it. Whenever we saw all of these screens, all of these transducers all over these anglers' boats, I mean, I think a lot of us just weren't ready for it. And I think Chris Zaldane was kind of low key exposing some things about about this whole electronics thing. He's an electronics guy, but he is not a forward facing sonar guy to the extent of where it is where it was headed to, or where it has already reached. All right, so let's just take a listen so you guys can hear and what they were talking about. And for me, I think this is kind of where, and let's see, let me just get this straightened out for you guys. How about that? All right, so let's just listen in and see what we're talking about as far as the limitations on transducers. And I'll just let you know right at the beginning, what they're going to show is 2 transducers connected directly to the trolling motor. Now, the way the stipulations are, you can only have one. So he would have to remove one of those in either the landscape mode or the forward facing mode. It's landscape or perspective mode. I can't remember which one. Which one? I'm just looking at the chat. You guys crack me up sometimes. All right, so yeah, make sure you guys get active in the chat. And before I play this video, let's do this. Let's go ahead and take a look at this poll real quick. And again, the call-in link, guys, I'm going to put it in here one more time. So I know someone had asked me, how do you, if you want to come up, what you do is just click that call-in link that you see me dropping in the chat. So what I was about to say is, before we do that, let's just take a look at this poll question that I had dropped, and then we're going to change that up real quick. All right, so the poll question is, do you agree with the Bassmaster limitations? State your reason in the chat. So yes, we have 64% of you do agree with Bassmaster limitations. And I'm kind of seeing that now, once people have kind of absorbed the information and kind of the shock is over, that they're kind of thinking about it. And I think that is why, well, part of the reason why that number is increasing with the people that are agreeing with it, because it's not a total ban, which will kind of keep those younger anglers that they have been, well, I was going to say grooming, but they have been teaching and training and, getting them ready to step up into the higher levels of tournament bass fishing. They have been brought up on this technology. So to just swipe that away would be a major hit to the younger anglers whenever that is what they have been brought up on. So that's kind of what I'm, one of the things that I've kind of noticed going on about that. But let's just read this poll one more time, and then I'm going to drop this down and bring up another one. And real quick, let me just drop this call-in link one more time. So this is going to be a short one, guys. We're not going to be on here long because I know some of you guys have an event that you want to go and take a look at if you're not already taking a look at it. All right, but let's see. Let's go ahead and drop that call-in link one more time. All right, so do you agree with the Bassmaster limitations? Yes or no, and state your reason in the chat. So 65% are saying yes, you do agree with those limitations. 35% of you are saying no, you do not. You do not like those limitations. So let's go ahead and end that poll. And let's see if I can get this next one up here ready. What is this next question? Okay, so is the ban too much or not enough? What do you guys think? Do you think that ban is too much? Or do you think that they should have actually gone farther than that and farther than that, meaning anywhere. Look at Pale Rider. He says, go Chiefs. Pale Rider knows what I'm talking about. I know what you guys have your eyes on. Like I said, we're going to be in and out on this one, but I just wanted to give you an opportunity to come up if you did want to, just state something about this. All right. So let me see. Let me just make sure I get the question right. This next poll question. All right. And it is, are the limitations set by B.A.S.S enough or too much? All right, enough or too much? Well, let's just change that up a little bit. Are they enough or should they have gone farther? All right, there we go. This will be. And again, these polls are just to gauge the room, to let you guys in the chat get a chance to see what the other viewers are thinking, so you know who your neighbor is in that chat and what you guys may be thinking about it. All right, and once again, the call in link in the chat. If anybody wants to call in and wants me to bring them up on the screen, just type call in the chat. I just want to get an idea and see if anybody wants to come up. All right, so that poll is live and in action. So make sure you guys participate in these polls. This is a very live and interactive show, guys. So the more participation we get from the chat, from the viewers, the more interesting and the more value that you will get out of these live streams. All right, so the poll question that is currently up is, are the limitations enough or should they have banned it? All right, so hold on, wait a second. Let's do this. Let me change this real quick, guys, because I put yes or no. Hold on, let me just change it up real quick. All right, or should they have banned forward-facing sonar? All right, so we'll go with the limitations are good, or should they have banned it? So there we go. Now, there we go, guys. So now that poll is live and in action. So let's get active on that one. Are the limitations enough or should they have banned forward-facing sonar? All right, so that is what we're going to take a look at. All right, and so I see someone in the back wanting to come up real quick. Let me just take a look. And what I'll do is I'm going to play these two clips real quick. So I see you backstage. I'll pull you up in just a second, but I do want to play these short clips real quick just so people can kind of get an idea, because there may be some people that aren't familiar with the topic or may need their memory refreshed on some of the things that have brought us to this point. But let's just take a quick look, and this full video can be found on Zaldane's YouTube channel. I believe it's Zal Dangerous. They have one of the best podcast live streams on YouTube, so make sure you guys check them out and subscribe to their channel. All right, so here we go. Let's take a listen. Now, he's speaking with one of the top elite anglers that has been doing very well using their electronics. Now, let's take a look at their setup.
Yeah. Two transducers here, one perspective, saltwater, one regular, two 16-inch Garmin's,
great.
one 12-inch Humminbird Solix. I like that. And what do we got at the console here?
A 12 inches Garmin.
12 Garmin.
Yeah.
12.
Let's go real quick.
Can you please?
Solid. Yeah.
Two transducers here.
All right, two transducers here. That's two transducers right there on the trolling motor.
One perspective, saltwater, one regular, two 16-inch Garmin's.
Great.
All right, so there he goes. He has a saltwater transducer on the front in landscape mode, and he has the other one in forward mode. I can't remember if it's landscape or perspective mode for Garmin, but he has Garmin units. Obviously, you can see it right there. But he has two 16 units on the front, so he's already at, what is that, 32 inches of screens right there. So the screen size, he's good so far. He would have to remove one of these transducers. All right, let's go ahead and finish listening to the rundown of what he has.
One 12-inch Humminbird Solix. I like that. And what do we got at the?
Oops, hold on. Wait a minute. He has two 16 at the console plus a 12-inch Humminbird. So what was that? So that was 32 plus 12 is 44. So he only has 11 inches of screen left under the new regulations.
The console here,
12 inches Garmin.
12 Garmin,
Yeah.
12 Humminbird, and 12 Humminbird.
Yes.
So
Lord, he has 3 units at his. I've lost count, guys. Maybe somebody in the chat can add that up and put the numbers in the chat for me. But he has, did he have 3 12-inch units right there? Let's just take a listen again real quick.
12 inches Garmin.
12 Garmin,
Yeah.
12 Humminbird, and 12 Humminbird.
Yes.
So
All right, so that's 36 inches at the console, and he had, what was it, 40 something at the wow. Okay, let's keep on listening.
30, 12, 36
36.
36
Yeah,
inches at the console.
Yeah.
Any live transducers in the back?
Yeah, I put on that 230.
All right, so here we go. Now he has additional transducers in the back. Remember, he already has 2. Let's see, what does Big Ivy say? Big Ivy says he has 3 transducers. One is under the, and I guess you didn't want to finish that sentence. But yeah, so we're about to take a look at the back of the boat now.
T2 the riboscope.
Okay, so when you're idling, you can see left and right.
Yes.
Very good. Excellent.
Yep.
Taku is one of those guys I consider probably one of the best live scopers in the game. So Taku, thank you for showing us your electronics setup. Any idea on how much electronics cost altogether?
30,000.
About 30,000.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Ooh, $30,000. $30,000. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's see. I see we have Tom backstage. Let's bring Tom up. What is going on, Tom? How are you doing, sir?
Not too bad. Not too bad. It's been a while. Been a couple months here, I guess.
Yeah. Good to have you back. So what's going on, sir?
Well, this is all within a process. I want to cover a couple different things. Previously, I mentioned the Project Roundtable that we started approximately 10 years ago, addressing the electronics. This is what basically the results of that entire study has gone through. The reason why it's not being taken even further is there are still contracts between the series and their sponsors. So they're still under contract from
getting rid of more electronics, and there is kind of a delay. So I'll pause after I say something to let you respond.
Yes, there's a delay basically in removing some electronics because there's still sponsorship contracts with money involved, saying it goes through the end of the year of 2026.
Wow.
So during the year of 2026, there's going to be even more measures taken to remove electronics from the tournament series.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard anyone mention that. I mean, there's a lot of information going out there, so it may be out there, but yeah, I just haven't heard that bit of information on there.
Yeah, wow. No, it's not being advertised. It's kind of an agreement between all the different states, especially where the tournaments are taking place. It gets politics involved, and once you start to get in the millions of dollars of revenue, there's also sponsors that pick up like hotel rooms and stuff like that. So it's a lot deeper than just the tournament series management coming out and saying, no, we're gonna cut this off. Yeah. Because there's multiple parties involved that are underneath these contracts. So over the next 2 years, you're going to see a lot more of the funds from sponsors being shifted over to other things, including even the boat manufacturers. So the size of the boats are going to be limited. The size of the motor on the boats is going to be limited. Within new regulations, it's one electric motor. Future, you're not going to have your stability poles. Any electronic device on the boat is going to be limited.
Wait, okay, say this again. So yeah, just restate that these limitations again.
All electronics, whether it be sonar, powered equipment, anything that the batteries are connected to on the boat are going to be limited in future years. That's already in discussion. Basically, by the year of 2028, they want to have where every competitor is working with the exact same equipment, similar to like racing series, like the Trans Am racing series, where the boats, the equipment, the gear is all the same, and the anglers can only use that gear. They're not going to be able to bring their own personal stuff on. That's the goal for 2028. So
wow, okay.
it's
So
a process.
that's with the elite series is what you're saying, or is that in
That's
any other
all.
divisions?
That's all tournament fishing, freshwater inland tournament fishing series. Everything: bass, muskie, walleye, crappie. Everything right down to your local fishing club. Everything.
Wow. So where did you hear that? Because I know you have some inside information because of the panel or whatever, that committee that you're talking about. But is that what you said that is what you guys have been working on for a while, getting all
Since
those regulations?
2015. Yes. From 2004 to 2014, I was very involved with muskie stocking in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay.
And from that point, individuals like Larry Ramsell, Pete Mania, Joe Bucher, all these individuals are included with this project roundtable. So they address the things that were impacting our natural resources. So the fish population, tournament cheating, which has only been enforced over the last year, with the walleyes being stuffed, with multiple bass fishing competitors being disqualified over zones. And then also Mike Keys is another one from Mike Keys Outdoors. He's also a member of the panel. So it's TV personalities, professionals that have won the bass fishing tournament series before. They're all part of it. It's basically 1,500 individuals across the U.S. That are part of this project roundtable. And the discussion has been going on since 2015 when I created it. So last year, the PMTT series, the last two events of last fall, they actually eliminated the electronics completely. They couldn't use anything but their lake maps, and they had to be actual cards. They couldn't be live feed. So every series is now going in that direction, and it's a communication between all of the management. And it's going back to all your political departments of natural resources, how they're handing out permits for all the tournaments. It's going right up to the governors of each state, because it's affecting revenue. So it's a lot broader spectrum of people than just the 1,500 that are on the board.
Okay.
So it's something that's really, with the announcement, I knew about it. I told you about it.
We lost Tom. Let me bring him back on. Hold on. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, about 6 months ago, I think it was the last time I went live on here, and I explained that this was going to be going on. The two main individuals that started this was myself. Obviously, I started getting into it, and then a guy in northern Wisconsin by the name of Don Pfeiffer, Fife on Fishing. He was the president of the Muskie Club in Winnebago, and then he's been a manufacturer of fishing lures for 30 plus years. Another muskie guy by the name of he passed away 2 years ago. Tony Rizzo, he was part of the board. Larry Ramsell, he's also a large freshwater individual within the muskie community, obviously. So guys like from Today's Angler, I'm trying to think of his name now. Can't think of it now right off my head. I'm having a brain fart, but he was also part of this crowd. So the biggest portion that was kind of driving this was the commercial use, because states were looking at just banning electronics completely, but there's still commercial fishermen in each state that depend on it for business. So we had to separate commercial compared to the tournament competitive series. Okay. So this is what's coming out of it now.
Man, yeah, that's crazy. Wow. I mean, that's definitely some information I have not heard. But like you said, you mentioned it a while back, and I mean, there's been so many things being thrown around. But now, as we see things starting to actually happen, it's making us all think about some things. And then you mentioned that having all of the anglers pretty much have all of the same equipment. And I remember, as far as bass fishing tournaments, and I can't remember the league or anything right now, but I remember when they all had the same boat, same motor, and they just brought a certain amount of gear. But as far as electronics and everything, they all had the same electronics. Yep. To me, I've mentioned that a while back also, that if you're going to have competitions, if you want to see which angler is the best, then they should all pretty much have the same you know, just like you said, be given that same equipment. And so one angler could be on boat 1 or he can be on boat 10. Whatever boat he gets, it doesn't matter because they all have the same equipment and everything on there.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right. So man, I really appreciate you dropping in and dropping that info.
No problem.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you are definitely welcome back anytime, sir. You don't have to wait so long to come back again.
No, it's summer months. I've as you can see probably behind me here, I'm building garages so I can actually store more of my stuff because my lure manufacturing has multiplied, so I need more room. So I've only got about 3 chances to actually get on the water this summer, so it's been busy.
Wow. Okay. Well, drop the information about your lure company on here. You never know, you might get some new customers on here.
Yeah, it's all musky stuff. They can go on Facebook, look at American Handmade Lures. I do sell in the state of Wisconsin. It's called Tinted Lip Fishing. And then I also make fishing rods for G. Loomis. So if you're buying the heavyweight musky rods of 80 to 100 pounds, those are actually my design. So that's what I do. I basically design stuff and I sell my patents to different companies. And then I make fishing lures by hand, all out of wood. And then I also manufacture that same lure out of plastic and then sell it as a high box store type lure.
All right. So you're doing big things in the muskie industry. All right. Sounds good. But yeah, you're definitely, like I said, welcome back anytime and don't be a stranger.
Appreciate it. Well, catch you later.
All right. Thanks a lot. All right. So we had Tom coming in, dropping some great information. We have somebody else backstage. Let me bring them up in just a second. Let me drop this call in link one more time in the chat, just in case anybody else is wanting to come up. And like I said, guys, I wanted to put this together just so, I mean, I kind of figured that there were going to be people that had, and actually, let me correct this call in link real quick. I knew there were people that, you know, maybe wanted to come on and voice their thoughts. Maybe you don't have your own live stream, your own podcast or anything like that. So I definitely wanted to get out here and see what the viewers and the people that are hearing this information had to say about it. And some of you may be looking at it like, hey, things start up here and then they kind of trickle down. Like, how is this going to affect me on my local tournaments or even at the club level? You just never know how far these things may go, because this may end up being a standard where now people can say, hey, if you need all of this stuff beyond what the pros need, now you really need all of that, you're not really fishing. Isn't that what they say? This isn't real fishing. All right, so I dropped that call-in link. All right, let me play another video clip, and then I'll bring up our next person that wants to hop on here and have something to say about this topic. All right, so bear with me. So one of the things that we were just talking about were the that braking system. So let's just take a quick look at this clip. And like I said, I have a few interesting clips that I wanted you guys to take a look at. And once again, this is another part from Chris Zaldain's Zaldangerous YouTube channel. Like I said, make sure you guys go and check him out. You can find this full video on his channel. But here we go, guys. All right, so now let's take a listen and see what he had to say to this angler right here.
So nice. That's pretty cool. Got these too. These
dude, Caleb at Sea Light, dude. Caleb is an absolute man. But in 2025, I guarantee you, everyone will have the Sea Light sea brakes. Do you have any idea?
Oh, did you hear what he said? He said, I guarantee you in 2025, everybody will have these. But now I guess the guarantee is that nobody is going to have those. How things change. Things change pretty quick. All right, so let's just listen to a little bit more of the snippet, and then we'll bring up our next caller.
Yeah, how much this stuff costs electronics wise?
Probably somewhere in $40,000-$50,000 range.
From the riboscope.
Okay.
All right, so we already took a look at that one right there. Man, guys, so he was in the $30,000 to $40,000 range. What? No, he said 40 to 50. Then we had that first one said he was in the, what was it? $50,000 range. So yeah, these things are definitely kind of expensive. And let's see, so let's bring up our next caller. So who do we have here? It looks like we have Fantastic Gordo. Am I saying that right? Fantastic Gordo.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. You look good, sound good, everything's rolling. So what do you have on your mind? You see the topic, you've heard all the things that are going on. So what do you have to say about it?
Man, it's been a crazy last couple days with all the news, and you know, everybody's enjoying Randy Blockett go crazy. I thought he was gonna get to crying. It was
So cries of joy, huh?
So you know, I take us back before right before COVID. Um, um, right when COVID hit, a lot of people became fishermen. You
Right.
know, and so my take on that. Hey, let the dog out. My take on that is now that things are kind of, it hit its peak. Now that things are coming down, a lot of people that really got into fishing and really hyped the fishing industry up are back to their normal lives, or finally said, oh yeah, I had my little fun, and then that's so
Right.
I don't think that I don't think I really agree about the viewership issue, because when you get so many people tuned in their homes and on the lake now and becoming fishermen, and everybody's ratings went up.
Right.
More YouTube channels were produced, etc. I'm personally, I am a fan of the live imaging. I have Mega Live on my boat, so I don't get to experience all the different transducers. I do think that kind of got out of hand
Okay.
a little bit, especially after when Zaldane just dropped that video. It was
Man,
just,
and doesn't it seem like he was kind of low key trying to expose things like, hey, buddy, let's take a look at your boat and let me show everybody what you guys are actually doing out here.
and and I get it, but the technology, and I really understand it. I can see where some of the older guys were going with it, like but what kind of gets me is the fact that how much all this stuff costs. Your average local fisherman that is either trying to make a name for himself, or I'm a local fisherman here, and a local guide here in Tennessee.
Okay.
And so we use it on our boat, and to see our customers, get excited when we show them this, and it's not like we're standing on the front of the boat just scoping fish out.
Right.
We'll pan over to a hump and we say, okay, look, cast that way, right over there towards those trees is
Right.
where you want to cast. And everybody everybody has fun
Right.
doing it. So I am a fan of it. Um, I'm I'm not surprised about what Bassmasters did. I'm glad that they limit it down. I do like that. Um, Recently, and this was today, after hearing all the chaos, after hearing the chaos on BTL last
Right.
night.
Did you make it through the entire show?
It bit in and out. I had to watch Randy.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Everybody's got to watch Randy because it's funny. But I'll tell you what I would like to see.
All
What I would like to see is, and I know that this is a lot to ask, because it does require a lot of work during practice and tournament, because I know how boats are rigged up. I mean, I have a Z19, and it's
Okay.
got 360, all the hummingbirds. I got a 12, a 15, and a 10.
Okay.
And then I got Mega Live and Target Lock and
All right.
360. So I have fun.
All right. So you didn't quite go outside of the limits for outside of your 55 inches of screen size.
No. I can't afford it. I
Gotcha.
can't afford it. Everything came in increments.
Right.
Just like you, I've been watching your channel for a long time. So
Yeah, I started off with one, then I eventually had two.
yep,
When I got a
yep,
different boat, I transferred those two and added another one to it, and eventually, yeah. So
yep. And so what I like to see is and I think this is ideal. It's just I don't see how they could make it work. I think that you should allow the guys. They get what 2 days of practice in pro tournaments.
Right, something like that.
I think that you should allow them to do their research, go out there and use scope. Thank you. Use scope, everything you need, your aqua views, to see what the fish are doing, because
Right.
that technology has taught us a lot about fish.
Oh, definitely.
and has debunked a lot of what people were we're saying fish were doing, and now the behavior is completely the opposite. A lot of people have learned, like, man, fish are really doing something different
Right.
than what we've been taught our whole life or what we read in magazines.
And Jacob Wheeler said something like, he said, everything that we thought we knew for all these years, we need to throw it out because now we see that it isn't true, or something like that. So yeah, I definitely understand that sentiment has been going on now that they're seeing all of these things happen.
So yeah, exactly. And so what I say is, I think that they should allow these guys to use their technology to do the research and prepare for a tournament, because these are pros. These are pros.
Right.
These are the best of the world. They can catch fish when nobody else can.
Exactly.
So I think that when it comes tournament days, shut it off. Let's go put everything we just now let's give it all we got.
Right.
We figured out something. They may not be doing what they did yesterday in practice, but at least we have a general idea what the fish are doing. Let's go put a game plan together, and then watch these guys battle it out.
Right. So I have a question for you too. So you heard Tom mention about having all of the anglers having all the same equipment, everything across the board. What do you think about that? So let's say, for example, if there are, I don't know, 150 competitors in that tournament, whatever the sponsoring boat company is, electronics company there is, or whatever, they all have, there's boats numbered 1 through 150, and they're all rigged the exact same. You just draw your boat number. You follow what I mean? So all of the tournament anglers are going to be out there fishing with the same equipment. So that would kind of lead them to, if they do have their own rig on boat outside of that, they're going to rig it just like it's going to be in the competition that they get to use. So it kind of levels out that playing field. So if you do have Garmin, or you have Humminbird, or Lowrance, each boat would have all of the same equipment, whether it has all 3 units on there some type of way, or they have just one title sponsor, or however that works. But what do you think about evening the playing field that way?
Man, to be honest, they still gonna cry. You could level it out as much as you want. You could put the same technology. The problem is, the main issue is live scope.
Right.
Many guys out there on the pro level have learned their whole life how to fish, how to throw a spinnerbait, chatterbait, you name it. They have perfected these techniques and made alterations of their own style of lures, that they know works. The issue is live imaging. That is the number one issue. Unless you take away live imaging completely, I think you're still gonna have people, regardless of, they get. You know what? I enjoyed watching the General Tire Team Series last week. Okay. I think it was viewership. I think that was great, because me watching it, I'm watching 2 anglers up there joking, coming up with a plan.
Exactly.
You see Dustin Connell get stuck with a lure.
Yeah.
I bet it hurt. And so all that is fun to watch.
Yeah.
And so even if you have the same technology, there's still some people already know there's fish offshore.
Right.
So when they find offshore, nobody wants to stare at somebody's back with technology or not, because they'll probably use 2D to still try to, get down there to that brush pile and still stare at a RTS window of
There we go.
their lure.
That's right. That's right.
You know,
That's the way I used to do it.
yeah, I still do it to this day. When we catch a lot of hybrid here in Tennessee.
Okay.
We got one of the best lakes for wipers, hybrids,
Mhm.
and it's fun when I take a group of guys out, and sometimes I'll set them up there on the front to watch the live imaging and watch
Mhm.
them attack their lure,
Right.
and then I'll stand in the back, and on my console I'll switch it to RTS, and I'm right there by my transducer in the back catching them as well, like
Right.
it's live
Right.
imaging. So you're still gonna get it's the guy that's offshore. If he's not on the bank flipping or casting under docks or anything like that,
Yeah.
people are still going to talk about the guy that's offshore. He's boring to watch. He's out there in the middle of the lake,
Yeah.
catching smallmouth or whatever. So I think it's still going to be rather they take the technology away or not, rather they even the playing field. I think that most of these pros have the same opportunity,
Got it.
to
Okay.
catch fish.
And do me a favor. So you mentioned that that series that you just watched where you had the two angles on the boat. Search on YouTube and just watch this later and just give me some feedback. It's Money Bass Battle of the Anglers on Logan Martin. And just watch. It's the one we just did it last month, but just watch that format and then just leave me a comment in there. I want to see what you think. I want to see what you think.
Yeah, I will do.
Before I let you go, go ahead and drop your so you said you have a guide service, and do you have YouTube or
No, I haven't got there yet. So I don't personally have a guide service. I do cabinets for a living,
Okay,
but
gotcha.
BrianCarper.com is who I guide with.
Okay.
And I help him out. So if you're ever in Tennessee, BrianCarper.com, look him up. One of the best, #1 in Middle Tennessee, Nashville, Old Hickory, Center Hill, Percy Priest Lake. We're here. We're here.
Gotcha. All right, sounds good. All right, well, that is the fantastic Gordo checking in. I really appreciate you coming up, voicing your thoughts and opinions on the topic.
Thank you, Money. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome back anytime. All right, appreciate you. All right, guys. So there we go. Have a few people want to come up. So I dropped that call-in link. It is back in the chat. Let me just drop it in here one more time. And I have one more clip. Yeah, I think I have one more clip that I want you guys to take a look at. So we're going to take a look at that. Then I'll hop into the chat a little bit. But before we do that, hold on. I have to stop the show. We have Daniel hitting the channel with the $5 super chat. Really, really appreciate that. And that makes you the sponsor of tonight's show. This show is supported by the fans, the viewers, the subscribers, and people that just drop through every once in a while just to see what is going on over there. What is Money Bass talking about? So what this means is he is the sponsor of the live stream. So whoever gives the largest super chat or super sticker during the live stream, whether it is in the studio or out on the water, like earlier today, they are the sponsor of the live stream. So let me just change this banner real quick. And just bear with me because, like I said, this is a live and very interactive show. So now if you take a look at the bottom of the screen, it says special thank you so much to the sponsor of the stream, Daniel. Daniel has hit the channel with the $5 super chat. Really, really appreciate that. All right, so let's take another look. Well, let's take a look at one more clip. And this one is, we're gonna change it up a little bit. So I showed you a little bit of Chris Zaldane kind of exposing exposing some things and kind of putting some shock out there in the world with everyone seeing what these anglers actually have on their boat. So now let's take a listen to this person here, which I think you all will know. And some of you may have seen it. So want to give a big shout out to Bass Talk Live and Matt Pangrack. He had a special guest on there. And this is from this morning. So he was still kind of going through in his head some of the limitations that have been put out and just kind of trying to make sense of those things. But if you think about it, some of them may not make sense to anyone that is not in the business side of things, because you may look at it from the angler perspective or from a viewer perspective, but what about from that CEO perspective? And so I hear some people saying, let me just bring this back up real quick. So I hear some people saying how the people are making these decisions and they don't even fish. But in any industry, that CEO that runs a company may not be someone that actually handles the specific product, but they may be someone that actually knows how to run an organization or run a company because they are the chief executive officer. So someone could be the CEO of, say, a Pizza Hut corporation, but they may not be the one that's out there making the pizza. Maybe they've never even made the pizza, but they know how certain structures should be ran within an organization. But anyway, let's take a listen to what to Matt's reaction to one of the limitations that was put out here on these units. Here we go, guys. Let's take a listen.
But I gotta get one more lick in, because the more I read, I just found a new article. The more I read, the more I realize this is the most hypocritical crock of crap I've ever seen. So
he said hypocritical crop of crap. Did I get that right? Let's see that tongue twister he just said. Hold on.
Ask about that, and they said they're going to work down that and eventually handle that situation, that it is on the table, because the more I read, crap I've ever seen.
Okay, here we go.
The more I read, the more I realize this is the most hypocritical crock of crap I've ever seen. So Chad Gay's been in the industry for a long time. Used to do all the PR for FLW. Now he's writing for B.A.S.S. He kind of does a article, well-written article on the different things that, you know, rules that have taken place over the year.
Yeah.
I still cannot, Scott, I still cannot wrap my head around this brakes thing. It is the most this is the most single hypocritical sentence I have ever heard in the history of bass fishing. This is embarrassing, Scott. Like, really, it's 7:45 in the morning. I just read this while you were talking on the last. Fired me the hell up. Elite competitors will now only have one electric motor mounted on the boat. The new standardization will eliminate the challenges of rules enforcement. Yeah, we've heard that. While requiring anglers to demonstrate more boat control skill with a single electric motor. Hello, spot lock. Hello, power poles. What the hell?
Yeah. That
Matt flipped out so much he froze his screen up. He froze up.
What the electric motor? Hello, spot lock. Hello, power poles. What the hell?
Yeah. That
what world are you living in?
So there we go, guys. I just wanted you guys to take a look at that right there. So what he is talking about is the limitation of using the braking system on boats, and that braking system. And I see we have somebody else that wants to hop in and speak their piece. Let me just show you guys this this screenshot of the brakes that he's referring to real quick. All right, let's see, share that. All right, there we go. So if you take a look, you can see those the braking system right there on that boat. Let's see. I was trying to see if I could get my mouse to show up on the screen, but you guys see it right there. Looks like two torpedoes with propellers behind it. Basically a trolling motor attached to the power poles. So that is what he is talking about. So they can no longer have those. So Chris Zaldane was like, I guarantee it that everybody's going to have those by 2025. But now I think he say, I guarantee that nobody's going to have those in 2025. All right, so let's see. Who else do we have wants to check in? We have Shane Flint. What is going on, sir? How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. So what do you have on your mind? You've seen all of this stuff that's going on. What do you have? What do you think about it?
The one that just pops to mind is the power brakes. You know, that's
okay.
$30,000 or $40,000 is what they're paying for those. How much does the outboard motor on your bass boat cost?
Whoa, wait a minute. You're saying that the little clip that I just pulled up, those things cost that much?
They are very, 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 very expensive.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Then they do put live scope on. How much are they running?
I do not know, but let me just pull this back up real quick. Let's see.
Yeah.
Where'd you go? Let me. All right, there we go. So this is what you're talking about. These two trolling motors at the back of the boat.
Yes.
They're charging $30,000 for that?
After you install them, they're extremely expensive.
What makes those things that expensive?
That's a great question because of, it's new, it's interesting. They're very expensive. I looked at them before. I think after some was installed, they're 27. But and some folk put transducers, live scope and transducers on them as well. Yes, and they spotlight with those as well. So and they hook those up to the screen. I'll put one in the forward mode and one in the side mode. I forgot what it's called, but yeah. How much money do you want to wrap up in your bass boat?
Man. So yeah, I mean, us normal folk, we don't really know all of this inside. That stuff is under the water, so we're not seeing all of that. And I guess the cameraman is kind of angling the camera in a certain way to where we're not catching all of these 8 transducers and everything on the boats. It's kind of surprising. I mean, like I said, Chris Zaldane, I think he was kind of low-key exposing some things because I don't think he is in favor of all of this advancement in technology that's going on when it comes to pro fishing side.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we went to 2 extremes now. We've seen, they're going to ban forward-facing sonar in one league, and now they're put limitations in the elite series. I think there's balance. I think that it balances out a little bit, especially what they just did this week. But for the average fisherman, I mean, I'm not a tour pro. I'm the average angler with the YouTube channel, right, and get out there and catch fish. But I use live scope. I use down facing or regular 2D and side scan, and I enjoy it.
Right.
But I don't let that what happens on the tournament circuit decide what I want to do to go out there and catch fish. Right. So it's interesting. I mean, you watch all the other, watch the anglers go up and down on this. Right. Some are happy, some are mad. But at the end of the day, it's just like anything else. And by the way, I'm an Air Force veteran, just like you.
All right.
27 years. And you and I both know, hey, you're going to do what you're told, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They're going to get in line one way or the other.
Either that or they'll get you in line.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's just interesting to see, and there's some hypocritical things being said, of course, right? I mean, the NPLF, talking about baseball bats and things of that nature. Well, okay, that's a little stretch, right? But I kind of agree. Do you need more than one electric motor? On the boat, if you got to be able to run your boat, right?
Right.
That's part of being a pro angler. Is not only casting and understanding how to catch fish, etc., but boat control is part of it.
Right.
So you should definitely have some type of limitations, 3 electric motors on your boat, because you can turn that bass boat.
Right. Yeah, like some of those aircraft. What's the goodness, it left my name, but the aircraft that'll take off.
Harrier, the Harriers.
Yeah, and it'll just sit there and rotate. I mean, it's a plane, you can angle the wings and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. What was it called again?
A Harrier jet.
Yeah, there you go. Go. have one of those on water out there to catch fish.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put some limitations in there. So, but for the average guy, for the average weekend angler, they're going to experiment with all this technology if they can afford it, right?
Right.
And good on them. For me, I look at it as like, I want to get out there and catch fish, and I'm going to use every means necessary within legal bounds to catch fish,
right?
Because I want to maximize my time on the water. Because if you're out there working during the week and you get 4 hours in the afternoon or just 8 hours on the weekend, you want to maximize your opportunity to catch fish.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that I would always mention is, like, on my channel, I've had subscribers that would come and some would go. And early on, I would notice certain names a lot and they would kind of disappear. So I would send them messages and say, hey, what's going on? I haven't seen you in the chat in a while. And, a lot of them, from time to time, they say, yeah, well, I ran into financial things. I'm just kind of laying back on certain things. Or what some of the guys were saying was like, yeah, I had this health issue come up and I've, had these medical expenses and my health, so I can't get back out on the water. So one of the things that I just started doing in some of my videos is whenever I'm out there fishing, I'll just scan across and just let them see the scenery. If I'm running across the lake, I'll hold the camera. So, because it's like, I want to just go ahead and take them along with me. And because one of the guys in the comments at the time, I was doing that, but I wasn't really doing it for that specific reason. But he mentioned that. And I was like, I never thought about that. So he felt like he was actually riding along on the boat with me. Like when I'm blasting off, like, yeah, I can feel that wind hitting my face, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it's like, you never know. So you want people to be able to get out there and enjoy the time that they have because you never know people's situation.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the great things about YouTube. And, you and I both know we've been in this probably about the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of a saturated market with fishing channels and stuff,
Right.
but certain people gravitate to certain channels because they like the content, or they want to see the scenery. I got a friend that's got a channel, and I can't get away from his channel because the music.
Uh-huh.
He mixes the music in his videos. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
So, but everybody's got their own niche. That's what makes it exciting here on YouTube, and it does fulfill some folks' passion, to watch the content,
Mm-hmm.
and also gives them ideas, and it's a great thing, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So interesting perspective. Glad you came up and spoke your piece on it. So I see you have Shane Flint Outdoors. So you're on YouTube, or you have a business going on? Or
YouTube. So YouTube channel. I've been doing this about 3.5 years. My biggest niche for my channel is I sponsor the largest free online bass tournaments in the United States.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked it out, you can go over to my YouTube channel. As soon as you click on my channel, right now we have our smallmouth only bass tournament going on. Can't enter that one, but my next tournament is the nationwide team tournament.
Okay.
And your teammate can be anywhere in the United States.
Wow, now that is definitely interesting. I'll definitely check that out. So just go to Shane Flint Outdoors on YouTube, guys, and you
YouTube
can
or Facebook. Yeah,
YouTube or Facebook. All right, so really, really appreciate it. All right,
You
thank
bet.
you for coming up and sharing your thoughts and everything.
All right, have a great night. Appreciate you.
All right, you too. You are welcome back anytime. All right. So yeah, guys, we have some people coming up with their thoughts, opinions, suggestions, all of that good stuff. So let's see. Let's hop back into the chat. I'm gonna drop the call-in link. I see some people are like, hey man, we're getting close to the kickoff. What's going on? What are you doing to us, Money Bass? All right, so I'm going to drop the call-in link one more time. Let's just see if anybody else wants to come up. But what we will do in the meantime and in between time is hop back over here on this poll that was up. And again, I want to give a big shout out to the person that decided to, hop in the chat and was like, yeah, I kind of like this content. Let me hit Money Bass with the $5 super chat. And look at that. No question, no comment. It's like, hey, just for the pure love of the channel. All right, really, really appreciate that, Daniel. Strong supporter of the channel. And he definitely has been getting active in the chat. I believe you were on. Were you on earlier today when I was out on the lake live? I may go out there live again tomorrow, guys. So that's something else that I do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I have on the water live streams also, where I go out there and go over my process of how I get set up for tournaments and things like that. Go over equipment. So we just have some fun out there on the lake. So the same way you see me here in the studio, you would just see me out on the lake, and we're just talking about fishing and different techniques, all that kind of stuff. So it's a good time out there. We'll joke around and catch a few fish every now and then. Every now and then we'll catch fish too. All right, so let's see. So the last poll that we had, it says, are the limitations enough, or should they have banned forward-facing sonar? And we're talking about Bassmaster. All right, so 65% of you are saying the limitations are good. 35% are saying they should have banned it, completely banned it. All right, so you guys are like, no negotiations. Just get rid of it. All right, so let's drop this poll and see. Let's pull up another question. So these polls are just to kind of gauge the room and just give you guys an idea of, what people are thinking out there and how they may feel about a few things. I'm going to hop into the chat in just a second. Wait a minute. Do we have we have James Dancy, a member of the money team. All right. He says the 30K to 40K is for all electronics. Power brakes are about 1,100. So I see some other comments in here about the power brakes. So I'll pull those up in just a second, just in case anybody is not fishing the Bassmaster Elites wants to still add those to their boat. All right. But one of the things that I'm thinking about, and what do you guys think about this in the chat? If the Bassmaster Elite has now set that as a standard, and now you as an angler are using something above and beyond what the pros are actually using, will that be looked down upon? Because Bassmaster, like everybody says, is the standard. Well, not everybody, but I think most people say that is the standard. So now let's say you're out here and you have 2 transducers at your on your trolling motor, and then you have 2 transducers in the back. It's like, the pros don't need all of that to catch fish. I mean, how bad are you if you have to go above and beyond what they're using? What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? All right, so now let's do another poll question, and something that was pretty interesting to me. Let me just see. All right, let's see. So this next question, it was brought up by someone that was just up here, and it made me think maybe this will be a good poll question. So having all of the anglers being put on the same playing field where, and I believe, let's see, who put that in the chat? Somebody mentioned something about heavy hitters. How long ago was that? Because the thing that I'm thinking about, it has been a while. It was several years back. So Vernon Neal, he said MLF heavy hitters. All anglers have the same equipped boats. What do you guys think about that? If you are really testing the skill of the angler, should you give all of the anglers the same equipment? The same equipment, and then that eliminates the equipment being part of the part of what you're gauging them on to an extent. What do you think? What do you think about that format? So let's put this as a poll. If you want to really test the skill, and I have a good question that I'm going to put in the chat first, and then I'll put that out as a poll question also. All right. All right, so all anglers be required to use the same equipment, meaning boat, motor, trolling motor, and electronics. So basically, the intent of this question, and let me just get this out here real quick, guys. Just bear with me. I had to change my keyboards. I was having some technical difficulties a little earlier. All right, so should all anglers be equipped? And again, we're talking about Bassmaster. Should all anglers be required? And since this is a Bassmaster limitation, we're talking about Bassmaster. Should all anglers be required to use the same equipment, boat, motor, trolling motor, etc.? And we'll keep this one simple. We will go with a yes and a no on this. All right, so this poll question is, all right, let me see. I have to change it up a little bit. All right, boat motor, electronics, etc. All right, what did I do wrong this time? All right, bear with me, guys. It is a work in progress. What am I? I have to get this typed up right. Oh, that's why. Yes, no. Oh, I added too many options. All right, bear with me, guys. I'm trying to get this next poll question ready because these polls are a very interesting part of this of these shows. Like I said, I'd like to be very interactive. All right, so let's just keep it that way. Yes and no. So you guys understand the sentiment of this poll question. Should all anglers be required in Bassmaster to use the same equipment? And I'll explain this a little bit more. That poll question is live and in action. So make sure you guys participate in that. And basically what the sentiment would be is, let's just imagine and say that whenever these anglers are showing up to that ramp, there are already how many elite anglers are out there, guys? But let's just say it's 130 anglers out there. So whoever the title sponsor is, that sponsor has supplied all of the boats, or maybe the angler gets to choose the boat, but all of the boats are rigged the same. They can choose whether it's the Bass Cat, Skeeter, Nitro, whatever company that they want, but that boat is going to be rigged the same with the same equipment and everything on there. And so that is the format. They show up and they put their equipment on that boat and they take off and go out for the day. So that is the sentiment behind it. So should all bass anglers be required, if you are showing a true test of that angler, be have all of the same equipment? as far as that goes. And now they go out. So that was kind of interesting. Let's just see. Let's see what you guys think about that one. All right, so I'm going to hop into the chat a little bit while you guys answer that poll question. We've been rolling for about an hour and 14 minutes. So we've been going over a few things. Been having some fun in the chat. All right, so in the chat also, if anybody else wants to call in, just type call in the chat. Just type call in the chat, and then I will drop the call in link again. Actually, let me just go ahead and drop that in the chat, because someone was saying that they did want to call in last time and they didn't see the link. All right, hold on, guys. Just bear with me. This is a live show. Generally, we get together every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, but sometimes I do some pop-up live streams. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you can get those notifications. All right, let's see. So we're dropping this call-in link once again. So this call-in link is in the chat. If you want to call in, I'll bring you up on the screen. Just make sure your audio and everything is good and your lighting is good, and I can bring you up. All right, so let's see. So Brett said, who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for all those boats? Who's going to pay for all that equipment? I suppose the sponsors, the same way that they did that format on heavy hitters. So Brett, are you familiar with heavy hitters? And was that Vernon Neal that mentioned that? How long ago was that? Does anybody know how long ago they had heavy hitters where the anglers just showed up with their equipment and each angler got on a boat that was already there and rigged and everything? So all of the anglers had the same boat. How long ago was that? But yeah, so basically, however they did that with heavy hitters, Brett, that's how they would do it with this one. But let's just take a look and see what you guys are thinking about the poll question. All right, so all anglers be required to use the same equipment? Oh my goodness. All right, so you guys are voting, but wouldn't you know, it is 50-50. It is an even split. All right, so let's see if some more people go ahead and continue to vote on that poll, and we'll come back to that, and then I'll change it up in a minute. But I'll give you guys a little more time to reply and vote on that poll. All right, so let's see. I said I was going to hop into the chat for a few minutes, and the call-in link is in the chat. I want to give a big shout out to Daniel. He is the current sponsor of the live stream. Whoever gives the largest super chat or super sticker during the live stream is the sponsor of the live stream, because this channel is supported by you guys, the viewers of this channel. All right, and yeah, keep in mind, I might be out on the water live tomorrow. So if you guys enjoyed that little process that I showed you, just make sure you subscribe to the channel so you'll get the notification. If I go out there, it may be around 9 o'clock or so, and I may be out there for like an hour or two. See how many fish we can catch in an hour, something like that. That's what we might do this time. All right, so here we go. I saw someone say something about a poll question. Clint Perry said, the poll doesn't make any sense, sir. But that was one of the earlier polls. I know that's an older message. So let's get down here. I want to give a big shout out to Don. We have Don Yarborough checking in. Yarborough. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. He says, Clint, that's exactly what I'm talking about. They don't want to give it up. What are you guys talking about in the chat? But yeah, it's always a good thing to get in there and network with each other, guys. All right, so let's see. And Anthony, he did some quick math for me a little earlier. So that one angler had 80 inches of screens on his boat. Uh-oh. Jason is trying to start a whole new topic. He said, I've seen a few co-anglers bring their own portable forward-facing sonar units. So under new rules, that won't be legal. Sucks for them. Oh, man, that's terrible. But, I mean, the first thing I think about that is these boat owners have spent all of that money getting everything rigged up so that there's no interference in everything. And now this person hops on their boat and just brings all kind of interference, noise, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if you guys remember, but when I had Randy Blockett on, one of the things that he mentioned was that co-angler should bring a live imaging, what is it? Something to distort the images. It's a blocker or something like that. That's what he mentioned. That was kind of funny. All right, so let's see what else we have in the chat. So I'm going to get caught up in here. I'm just going to go through and read the money team members things real quick. So we shout out to Stephen Dorsey. He says that was the early days of Bassmaster. Okay, so he was talking about that heavy hitters format. Once again, shout out to Daniel. Got to give credit where credit is due. And really appreciate everybody for stepping up, stepping in, coming up on the channel and getting active in the chat. All right, Barry says, let's split the tournament. Some tournaments are allowed and some tournaments are not. Limit 1 unit at the console and 1 unit at the bow of the boat. Even playing field. Okay, so he wants an even playing field. All right, let's see here. Is anybody else participating in the poll? Yeah, that poll is still 50-50 that you guys are saying, yeah, even and give everybody the same equipment. All right, and I agree with you right there, Brett. He says Bass Talk Live last night was a great show. Oh yeah. I think that may have been the most active viewers that I have seen on a fishing live stream. I think there were over 1,200 people watching that. All right, let's see what else we have. So I'm going through here, guys, just trying to get caught up real quick. We've been running for about an hour and 20. So let's see where we're at in the chat. All right, so I'm down to some of the newer messages in here. All right, so Daniel says there's one guy I know that will answer your question on forward-facing sonar and power pole brakes. He's qualified to answer these questions, Money Bass. It's Josh Jones. All right. Where's Josh at? All right, let's see. Oh, I know there was another thing in here. So you guys were mentioning about those brakes a little earlier. So I know C219 Troll, he is the crappy guy, and he was in the chat. Let's see if I can find it real quick. So he was mentioning how those were out long before Bass guys were interested in it, and they did not cost $30,000 to $40,000. That may be in a complete electronic setup, but let's see where you guys are at. Let me just find it real quick. All right, so Jason says, crazy thing about those costing so much is they are just Minn Kota brush trolling motors, not even current brushless technology. Motors and shafts cost under $300 each. All right, so we have Tom. Tom checked in. He says $1,200 to $1,400 per power pole for the brakes. All right, there we go. C219 Troll, he said those brakes are not that much at all. Maybe $5K for poles and trolling motors. This was started from crappie fishermen well before live scope. All right, so C219 Troll is the resident crappie expert. He's out there cashing checks on the crappie scene. All right, what does Chris say? Chris says each power pole trolling motor about $1,650. All right. Okay, so once you get those rigged up, and we have Anthony says, yep, I second that. They are $1,600 a pop. All right, so $1,600, then you pay for, the setup and everything. All right, there we go. All right, so Jason says, sorry, I meant the actual shaft and lower units are less than $300 each. Crazy, they are charging another $1,200 to $1,300 to adapt them to the power poles. Oh yeah, they were like, you have to pay for this knowledge. I figured out how to mount these on here, so you have to pay for this knowledge that we've gained. All right, so let's see, where were we at in the chat? All right, Big Ivy says that makes real competition. No handicapping, no getting one up. You just got to bring your A game. All right. All right. I'm just going through the chat real quick, guys, just to see what some of you had to say about the topic. So we have Black USC checking in. MLF Cups selects fished out of the same equipped boats. Okay, those were the best tournaments. No practice, just 30-minute ride around. Right, I remember that one too. And so that actually may have been the one that I was thinking about, because I remember Mark Daniels was going to one of those where they were about to get on a plane and all they brought was some poles or something like that, because all they could bring was their equipment and a few poles or something, and then everybody had the exact same boats rigged out. All right, so Chris says first tournament ever with Bass, you was given a new Plano box. You weighed that box up to 10 pounds, then loaded, okay, your drawn boat number. I remember that. That is one of the ones I was thinking about also. All right, so there we go with that. All right, let's see how much further okay, so we're almost caught up in the chat. Let's just go ahead and get caught up in the chat real quick. All right, Big Ivy Fishing says, hey, if you bring 500, I bring 500, and then they bring 500. It shouldn't be able because you are a millionaire and I'm a bum. Okay. All right. You should be able to put a Cadillac on your boat, and I can't put one on mine. So you shouldn't be able to do that. All right. Let's see. All right. Chris Henderson says, Forest Woods Ranger furnished fully loaded boats in the beginning. There we go. So we're getting back to the basics. And so that's one of the things that I mentioned. If that is really what people's argument is, why not go back to the basics? All right. Brett says, I know the Classic used to do that. All right. There we go. All right. right. What does Jenna Kennel say? All right. You guys are talking about Randy. Block it in there. All right. Tom says, so if you give everyone all the same equipment, how will you replace sponsorship money for the anglers, for rods, lines, lure, etc.? So what I would say, it would be the scenario that they're mentioning in the chat where the rod, the reel, the lines, the individual baits and everything, those anglers can bring that. So that is the equipment that they bring. But as far as the electronics, the boat, the motor, that kind of setup, that is being provided to the angler. So they bring their own gear. But I mean, if you wanted to break it down to a true test, then maybe 1 week the sponsor supplies all of the gear, so maybe it's a lose tournament or something like that. But you kind of get the idea. But I was mainly saying if the gear, the anglers bring that, but the boat is already there rigged up and they just choose a boat number and they get on that boat, something like that. Just trying to keep it simple. But that's the way that scenario would break down. All right. So should all anglers be required in Bassmaster to use the same equipment? All right. So we have the no's have it. The no's came in at 53% and the yeses came in at 47%. All right. And so I guess I'll save this other question that I had for the next live stream, guys, because I know there's some events going on that everybody is wanting to get to. So let's just scroll through these last comments real quick. All right. So Jenna Kendall says, I think it's good. It's an indication they're willing to limit technology. People more open to an outright ban. Okay. All right. Chris Henderson says you can get 30-pound thrust or more. Money depends on thrust. Oh, yeah. You want that thrust. All right. Tom says all they could bring was poles and 10 pounds of equipment. There we go. All right. Big Ivy Fishing says in team tournament, Jacob Wheeler and Dustin Carnell just got smoked first round. Okay. All right. So yeah, we get out here and have some fun with it. Just like the sport that everybody's about to watch this evening. Same thing, guys. You get out here and have fun with it. You go back and forth with who's your favorite. They should have did this, should have did that. So that's what it's all about. All right. So what does Andrew say? Andrew says, I understand all the fishermen using the same stuff, but I believe in using what you got because you don't need any expensive equipment to catch bass. There we go. All right. So Brett said, should there be a salary cap for boat plus electronics? So you mean the amount that the anglers can spend? For me, what I would say is that I like the way that format was where the anglers brought their equipment, similar to what Tom just said, that all they could bring were their poles and 10 pounds of equipment. So that kind of would level out that playing field as far as electronics goes and everything. So if that boat, if 360 is on everybody's boat and that professional angler knows that, he needs to be able to use that piece of equipment to the best of his ability, because pro fishing is not really about who is the best fisherman. Would you guys agree with that? Let's just go ahead and drop that poll question. What I would say is pro fishing is about which fisherman can use sponsors' equipment the best and catch fish with that, because it is all about marketing. It is a business. So a pro angler's job is to catch fish using sponsored equipment and to get people to buy that equipment to support that business. That's what I would say. So I don't want to put that in a poll question, but that may be a topic that we talk about. But yeah, just wanted to drop that out there. All right, let's see. There we go. Shout out to Jason. We'll close it out on that. Jason says pro fishing is about who is the best marketer. All right, so there we go, guys. So that is where there's a lot of disconnect in this topic. Anytime there's changes, people aren't necessarily looking at it from the business side. That business side of thing is 100% business. It's not about feelings. There are people over here that are mixing feelings with more feelings and may not be looking at it from the business standpoint at all. All right, guys. All right. I know we were going to close out on Jason, but let's close out on a member of the money team. We have James Dancy coming in. He says the only tournament that Bassmaster required all anglers to use the same boats was the Classic, which ended after 2006 or 2007. The 10 pounds of bait in a supplied Plano box was for Classic as well. All right. So hope this information provided some value for you guys. You know, you got a chance to come up and speak your piece. That's pretty much what I wanted to make this live stream about, guys. So I did an emergency live stream on a Thursday night, and I might be out on the water again for a few hours. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you'll get the notification for that. But I will be at Lake Hartwell this weekend on Saturday and Sunday out there hunting for a 10 pounder. That would not happen. I am looking for a 7-pounder. Can I get a 7-pounder so I can win that mega bass? That's the goal. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I will see you on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Always keep that locked in on your calendar. We'll be back with another topic. Who knows what's going to happen next? Who knows?